Hi, I'm Stellian, storyteller, authenticity alchemist, and a lightworker, and I do a couple of podcasts. Born to Do It, Big Souls, Big Ideas, channeled New Earth on, and I've just started a podcast in Bulgarian, my native language. Новата Земя с Тео Ян. I'll admit, I haven't updated my channel as regularly as I wanted to, as I've been investing a lot of time and effort into building a lot of the different platforms, and I'm also on TikTok quite a lot more than I am on YouTube. But I wanted to share something that I'm doing in August and September. If you wanted to join, I have just purchased the Ultrahuman Ring, and I'll be tracking my Ascension and Awakening symptoms. This was the pitch that I sent to Ultrahuman when I contacted them a few months ago, and they didn't respond. However, they got back to me and they said, yeah, we're actually interested to see what you're going to do with the data, how you're going to use the data. So this is my official invitation to join me as I do the challenge. I will be measuring the data, sharing about my experiences at NEO, which is one of the channels that I'm running and one of the companies that I'm running. NEO stands for New Earth Order, a vision that I started channeling a few years ago when I set up this YouTube channel. And in it, I talk to positive change makers, thought leaders about how they envision the future of Earth, how they envision the new Earth, and how we can all support one another as we're ascending collectively, as we're experiencing this shift in consciousness. If you've ever experienced ascension symptoms, you know that they can be quite nasty, and sometimes there isn't a medical explanation as to what's happening in your body, why it's happening, where it's happening. You just feel the symptoms shifting. You feel energy on certain pressure points, and sometimes you just feel a lot of pressure, as if you're in a pressure chamber, and that pressure is either going to destroy you or make you stronger, and it usually does make us stronger. But first, it tests our patience, our faith, our commitment, and of course, it drives us towards our purpose if we allow it to, or back to old habits so that we can then break them at a later point. I had the idea to test my symptoms when I realized exactly how much data smart rings like Ultrahuman can show us. And I actually did my first night with Ultrahuman, and it showed me a lot of data around my sleep. And I can tell you that I'm exhausted. I've been exhausted for a couple of days. So it was interesting to see what the data is going to show me to give me an explanation as to, why I'm still feeling unrested, why I'm still feeling exhausted. And one of the things that the ring flagged was that my restfulness needs attention. And it gave me a couple of points that I can work with, such as my heart drop rate, which is the hour before I go to sleep. That needs more attention. That's something that I can improve. However, I remember that I had a lot of dreams last night and that I wasn't really allowed to sleep properly, if you know what I mean. I wasn't allowed to have that deep rest. So out of the 10 or 11 hours that I spent in bed, some of them, being just on my phone and scrolling and just either winding down or preparing to get up, out of those 10 or 11 hours that I was in bed, I only had 2 hours of deep rest, of the deep sleep needed for that rest. So for about 8 hours, I've been in bed in these cycles of uninterrupted sleep, or interrupted sleep cycle, where I can even recall some of the things that happened in my dream, and they weren't necessarily this beautiful adventure that was restful. There were people that wanted to take me places. There were people from my past. There were scenarios about habits that I no longer engage with, such as going out and partying and going out and drinking and just talking nonsense and just portraying a lifestyle to impress other people. This was part of my sleep, and I can even remember some of the people that were in my sleep. So I know that my sleep, or my dream, was rather hijacked a little bit from outside interferences. So that is reflected in how I'm feeling, but also in the data. The data is showing that out of the period that I was supposed to be getting rest, I only had 2 hours of rest. And so it's no wonder that I'm not feeling rested. I wasn't allowed or I wasn't able to, rather, that's a better way to phrase it, to get the rest that my body needed. And this has something to do with the spiritual warfare, with the energetic space that we occupy collectively. So, the data can show us how to navigate the spiritual journey better. That's my theory, and I'm on a mission to prove it in the months of August and September. If you want to join me, there's a discount code if you want to buy your Ultrahuman Ring and join this challenge and see how your data combines for a more holistic presentation around how we can use smart devices, smart data to beat the system as we're awakening, because the system, a little bit like in the Matrix, is trying to suppress us from awakening, remembering, and unlocking more of our superhuman, ultrahuman genes, more of our brilliance. But we're not allowing the system to beat us. Rather, we're turning to spirit, to our spiritual self, to our intuition and our inner guidance, and we're using the data that's available to live in smarter ways, to operate in smarter ways, and to beat the system at its own game. So join me at Neo, where I'll be tracking this, where I'll be measuring, and I'll be posting a lot more videos. And I do promise I'll be posting some more comments in my channel. So if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, do subscribe. I'll be posting some more podcast episodes as well. Channeled is my latest podcast, which is running at Stellar Storytelling, where I'm discussing ideas that have been channeled. But I do want to spend some more time talking about the spiritual awakening, the Ascension symptoms, and common themes that you might experience when you're awakening. Destiny swapping is still something that I want to explore into more detail on my channel. And I do want to talk a little bit more about MK Ultra, as I haven't completed exactly everything that Spirit has given me in terms of information. And so that's going to be the next few months for me as I'm returning back to the playground and filming some more videos for you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this journey with me.